Good morning, dear students. I hope you all are doing well and studying hard at home. Also doing the tasks on time. Okay, today we are going to start our 24th chapter. Simple, compound and complex sentences on page number 191. So in this chapter, as you can see, simple, compound and complex sentences. So basically we are going to discuss about the types of sentences, okay, on the basis of their grammatical structure. Okay, we have already discussed about the types of sentences, right, on the basis of their meaning. There are 4 types of sentences, no? Assertive, imperative, interrogative and exclamatory sentences. So they are the types of sentence on the basis of their meaning. Okay, the 4 types of sentences, that is assertive, imperative, interrogative and exclamatory, are on the basis of the meaning of the sentence. Okay, and you can classify the sentence on the basis of grammatical structure in 3 categories. Okay, and they are known as simple, compound and complex sentences. First of all, you have already learned that a sentence is a group of words that make complete sense. Yes, we all know that a sentence is a group of words that makes a complete sense, right? That carries a complete sense, a meaningful combination of some words, right? So we already know that a sentence is a group of words that makes a complete sense. So sentences can be categorized into 3 types based on their grammatical structure. So we can classify the sentences on the basis of their grammatical structure into 3 categories. Okay, first one is simple sentence, then compound sentence and then complex sentence. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the classification of sentence on the basis of grammatical structure, that are simple sentence, compound sentence and complex sentences. Okay, so let's start one by one. So first one is simple sentence. On the basis of the grammatical structure, like by the structure of a sentence we can classify them into 3 types. There is simple and then compound and then complex. So how can we classify, how can we identify that which is simple, which is compound and which is complex sentence? So let us learn it and also learn the definition, and by that we will understand the use and how to identify the 3 types of sentences. Okay, so first one is simple sentence. Read these sentences. He lives in this building. Vanshika likes cats. Okay, each of these sentences is a clause. Now what is a clause? A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a finite verb. Okay, clause means a group of words, okay, that has a subject and a verb, a finite verb. Okay, we can say so because each has a subject and a verb. So see, I have told you that as we can address them as a clause. We can say that these sentences are clauses as they contain a subject and a verb. He is the subject here and lives is the verb, right? Vanshika is the subject, likes is a verb. So both the sentences are carrying a subject and a finite verb. So these are known as clause. Okay, when a clause when a sentence has a single subject and a single verb, then it will be a simple sentence. Look, we can say so because each has a subject and a verb, and these sentences can also be divided into subject and predicate. Okay, so the sentence, look at that, he lives in this building. So he is the subject and lives in the building is the predicate part, right? Vanshika likes cat. So Vanshika is the subject and likes cat is the predicate. So both the sentences has have clause, and we can say that it has a clause because each of these sentence is a clause, right? These sentences are known as clause. Why can we call it a clause? Because it carries a subject and a finite verb. So every sentence that carries a subject and a finite verb will be a clause. Okay, so this is both of the sentences are clause. Okay, because they have the subjects and a finite verbs, right? So, and both the sentences can also be classified as subject, into subject and predicates. Okay, we can have subject and predicate. Okay, so these types of sentences which are clause and also can be divided into subjects and predicates. A sentence having only one clause and therefore only a single finite verb is called a simple sentence. So the sentence which has only one clause, and one clause means one single finite verb, right? So a sentence which has only one clause and therefore it has only one finite verb, then it will be a simple sentence. Okay, so both of these sentences are simple sentences. Okay, how can we say that it is a simple sentence? Because it has only one subject and one finite verb, and also we can classify the subject and predicate in the sentence, and that is why it is known as simple sentence. A sentence having only one clause. Okay, clause we understand, no? That a group of word that has a simple has a single subject and a single verb, it will be a clause, right? So a clause which has a single finite verb and a subject, and we can classify we can identify the subject and predicate in the sentence, then we'll call it a simple sentence. Clear? So after simple sentence we are going to understand about the compound sentence, the second type of sentence. Okay, compound sentence. Read these sentences. The rain arrived and the peacocks began to dance. I was disappointed, but I kept quiet. So look at the sentences carefully. I am explaining you. Look, the highlighted parts in the above sentences are independent clauses that can stand on their own. These independent clauses have been joined by coordinating conjunctions like and but. Look, this sentence is the rain arrived. The rain arrived. Here subject is the rain, right? And arrived is the finite verb. And the peacocks began to dance. Now divide it. The rain arrived. Okay, stop. Then the peacocks began to dance. The peacocks began to dance. The peacocks is the subject and began is the finite verb. So here you can say two clauses. Look at that. There are two clauses, no? One clause is the rain arrived and the other clause is the peacocks began to dance. So both the clauses have their particular subject and a particular finite verb, right? Began to dance, arrived. So these two clauses are joined together, right? With the word, with the conjunction, by the conjunction and. Okay, by adding and to the sentence, the two clauses are added together. Okay, look at that. I was disappointed, but I kept quiet. I was disappointed, I kept quiet. Both the clauses are independent, means they are not dependent on each other. They can stand alone. Like if you say the rain arrived and omit the other portion, then also it will carry a meaning, right? The rain arrived, stop, it will carry a meaning that the rain arrived. The peacocks began to dance, it will also carry the meaning. Okay, so they are not dependent on each other, right? We cannot write the other part for the another to make it meaningful. We can write them independently, right? This is also an independent clause and this is also an independent clause. In the second sentence also, the first one, I was disappointed. Okay, it is meaningful. I kept quiet. It is also meaningful. So both these sentences are independent of each other. They are not dependent upon each other. Okay, so these types of sentences in which you will get two clauses or more than one clauses and they are not dependent on each other, right? They are independent. They can stand alone. Okay, both the clauses are can stand alone and they are joined with a conjunction and but. These are conjunction, right? So these types of yet, neither, nor, either, or, so these types of conjunctions, conjunction words can be used to join these two clauses or three clauses. Okay, and then it will be known as compound sentence. Okay, the sentence in which you can find more than one clause, means more than one subject and more than one finite verbs. Okay, and they are joined together with a conjunction word, then it will be a compound sentence. A sentence that contains two independent clauses that are joined by a coordinating conjunction. Okay, you will find that there are two independent clauses. Like we found that there were two independent clauses, right? They are not dependent on each other, that are joined by a coordinated conjunction. Okay, you will find two independent clauses which are not dependent on each other, and it means that you will find two verbs and two subjects in the sentence and they are joined by a coordinating conjunction like and, but, yet, either, or, neither, nor, these types of words. Okay, so they are known as, then they will be known as compound sentence. Okay, a sentence that contains two independent clauses that are joined by a coordinating conjunction. Okay, and that will be known as compound sentence. Clear? Simple sentence has only one subject and one finite verb. There is a single clause. Okay, but in compound sentence there will be two independent clauses and which will be joined with a conjunction word by a they will be joined by a conjunction word like yet, and, but. Okay, these types of words. If a compound sentence is made up of two clauses and if the subject of the second clause is the same as the subject of the first, the second subject may be omitted. It means that if a compound sentence is made of two clauses, okay, compound sentences which are made of two clauses, okay, so and the subjects of both the clauses are same, then you can omit the second subject. For example, look at this, it will be clear. Radhika reached home and cooked dinner. Here there are two clauses, right? Radhika reached home and she cooked dinner. Okay, there are two clauses in these sentences and they are joined with the word and, right? This is a conjunction word, no, and they are joined, both the clauses are joined with the by the word and, right? So in the two clauses, look at that, Radhika reached home and cooked dinner. In this sentences, Radhika reached home and she cooked dinner, right? Here Radhika has done both the verbs. No, the Radhika is the subject for both the verbs, right? Thus in the first clause and in the second clause, the subject is Radhika only. No, in the first clause Radhika is the subject and in the second clause also Radhika is the subject. So when you have the same subject, then in both the clauses, then you can omit one subject from the second clause. Like Radhika reached home, if once in the first clause you have written Radhika, then you can miss or you can omit Radhika from the second clause. Like Radhika reached home and Radhika cooked dinner, right? So we can omit the second one. Or Radhika reached home and she cooked dinner. Here Radhika and she both are same person, no, same subject, and that is why we can omit she from the second clause. From the in the first clause we have written the subject Radhika, but in the second clause we can omit the subject Radhika or she, and we can just write cooked dinner and it will be meaningful. Okay, Radhika reached home and cooked dinner. Here in both the clauses Radhika is the subject, right? The second subject she is omitted, means here the second subject is she, no? Radhika reached home and she cooked dinner. So we can omit she मीन्स वी कैन मिस शी, हम शी को मिटा सकते हैं या हटा सकते हैं, क्योंकि दोनों ही क्लॉजेस में सब्जेक्ट एक ही है, राधिका. ओके, राधिका रीच्ड होम एंड शी कुक डिनर. वी कैन राइट राधिका रीच्ड होम एंड कुक डिनर, and it is okay. Okay, this is a compound sentence. Since both the clauses are of the same rank, we refer to them as coordinate clauses. Radhika reached home and she cooked dinner. Both of them are of same rank. That is why they are known as coordinate clauses. Okay, means they are of same rank. Means no one is dependent upon each other. No sentence is dependent on each other. Like Radhika reached home, Radhika cooked dinner. Both are independent, and that is why not dependent upon each other to carry the meaning. Radhika reached home, it is meaningful. Radhika cooked dinner, she cooked dinner, it is also meaningful. So they are not dependent upon each other, and that is why it is known as coordinate clauses. Okay, that is why it is called that they are of same rank. Okay, each clause can be divided into subject and predicate and has a finite verb. Yes, I told you that each of them are independent, and that is why we can identify the predicate and subject of the sentence and also a finite verb. Like from the first clause, Radhika reached home, here reached is the finite verb, and here in the second clause, cooked dinner, where cooked is the finite verb. Okay, we can find the finite verbs. And now Radhika reached home, Radhika is the subject, reached home is the predicate. In the second clause also, she which is omitted, we can identify that she is the subject and other is the cooked dinner is the predicate, right? So here we can identify the subject and predicate and also the finite verbs in both the clauses. Okay, so they are known as coordinate clauses. After simple and compound sentences, our third type is complex sentence. Okay, now read these sentences. Note that in each sentence the underlined clause depends on the highlighted clause to complete its meaning. What is the sentence? This is the girl who is my neighbor. This is the girl who is my neighbor. In this sentence, and also I left the house when my mother arrived. Okay, in both the sentences the underlined words, look at the underlined clause depends on the highlighted clause. Okay, the underlined clause is, look at that. First of all, there are two clauses now. This is the girl, one clause. Here the subject and one infinite verb is there, who is my neighbor. Okay, in this sentence you can find two clauses, and the underlined clause is dependent upon the highlighted clause to carry its meaning. You cannot write this is the girl after without this is the girl. You cannot say who is my neighbor. Okay, who is my neighbor needs this part to carry its meaning. Okay, I left the house when my mother arrived. When my mother arrived, so it doesn't carry only when. If you say only when my mother arrived, so what? It doesn't carry a meaning, right? So the underlined words who is my neighbor and when my mother arrived, they are dependent upon the highlighted part, means I left the house and this is the girl, because they will not carry a meaning alone. Okay, they are different clauses but they depend upon each other. Okay, these sentences comprise a main clause and a subordinate clause. Okay, in these sentences there are two clauses. Okay, and one clause is dependent upon the other clause. Okay, the underlined clause is dependent upon the highlighted clause to carry the meaning, means without the highlighted part the underlined part cannot carry a meaning. Okay, without the highlighted part the underlined part doesn't carry a meaning. So there are two clauses in the sentence and they have a different names, like they have different name, like the subordinate clause and the main clause. The main clause, this is the girl, okay, and the who is my neighbor is the subordinate clause. Main clause is I left the house and the subordinate clause is when my mother arrived. Okay, the subordinate clause in each case is dependent on the main clause to make its meaning clear. Okay, means the subordinate clause is dependent upon the main clause to fulfill the meaning. Okay, the subordinate clause is dependent upon the main clause. The main clause is independent and the subordinate clause is dependent upon the main clause. Okay, the sentence, the clause which carry its meaning will be main clause, and the sentence which is dependent on the main clause, it will be subordinate clause. Understood? I left the house, it is meaningful. This is the girl, it is also meaningful, but this portion doesn't have any meaning without this portion, right? So that is why the portion which has its independent meaning will be main clause, and the portion which doesn't have any independent meaning, it will be subordinate clause. Understood? This who is my neighbor cannot be meaningful without this is the girl, right? But this is the girl is meaningful without if you write who is my neighbor, then also it is okay, and if not, then also it is okay. So this is independent and this is dependent. So the independent part is the main clause and the dependent clause is the subordinate clause. Clear? A sentence having one main clause and at least one subordinate clause is called a complex sentence. It means if you find a sentence which has more than one clauses, and it will be you will find a main clause and there will be at least one or maybe more than 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, 3 clauses may be there, and one main clause will be there and at least one or more than one subordinate clauses will be there, then it will become a complex sentence. Understood? Complex sentence has main clause, one main clause, and maybe one or two subordinate clauses. Okay, main clause is independent and the subordinate clause is dependent upon the main clause to carry the meaning. Okay, so if you find that one main clause is there and 2 or 1 or 3 subordinate clauses are there, then it will become complex sentence. Understood? Simple sentence have only single clause, one subject and one finite verb. Clear? Compound sentence have two clauses but they are independent of each other. Means both of the two clauses can stand alone. Okay, but in complex sentence there may be more than there is a main clause and there are maybe 1, 2, 3 subordinate clauses. Okay, means main clause is the independent clause and others subordinate clauses are independent. Dependent upon the main clause. Okay, main clause carries its meaning and the subordinate clauses need the main clause to carry its meaning. Okay, means all the clauses in the complex sentence are not independent, they depend upon each other. Okay, means main clause is independent but the subordinate clauses are dependent on the main clause to carry its meaning. Clear? Now look, a complex sentence can have many subordinate clauses. Okay, you can get many subordinate clauses in a complex sentence, but there must be at least one main clause that is absolutely independent and makes complete sense for okay. So it means that you can get many subordinate clauses in a complex sentence. A complex sentence can have more than 2, 3 subordinate clauses, but you will find a main clause there which is independent, means which is meaningful on its own. Okay, by alone only one sentence will be there which will carry its meaning alone and it doesn't depend on other clause. Okay, that will be a main clause, and more than 2, 3 subordinate clauses can be there. So for example, as the sun set, we walked towards our tent which had been pitched near a river that was almost overflowing. So this is a complete complex sentence. Okay, but how can you say that? Because there are as the sun set. One clause, we walked towards our tent. Second clause, which had been pitched near a river. Third clause, that was almost overflowing. Fourth clause. 4 clauses are there in the sentence, and you will find one complex, I mean a main clause. Sorry, it will find a main clause. What is the main clause here? We walked towards our tent. Why? Look at this. As the sun set. As the sun set what? It is not meaningful, right? The meaning is not clear. Which had been pitched near a river. What? It looks like something is missing. Which had been, what has been pitched near a river? Okay. That was almost overflowing. What was almost overflowing? This is also not a complete, I mean, doesn't carry a complete meaning, right? There are clauses, right? But look at that. As the sun set, here the subject is there, sun, and then set, finite verb is there in the which had been pitched near a river. Okay, there also a subject and a verb. Then that was almost overflowing. We have subject and verb. So they are clauses, but they are not independent clauses. They are dependent clauses. Okay, all these clauses are dependent on this sentence. We walk towards our tent. This is meaningful. Look, we walk towards our tent. We walk towards our tent. It is not dependent on any other clause. We walk towards our tent. It is quite meaningful. If you write we walk towards our tent, we don't need any other word or any other clause to make it meaningful. It is quite meaningful on itself. We walk towards our tent. Okay, it is meaningful. So this is the main clause of this complex sentence. Understood? And other clauses are subordinate clauses. Understood? So we can say that there may be 2, 3 or 4 subordinate clauses, but one main clause will be there in the complex sentence. The highlighted part is the main clause. Look at this. This is the main clause. There are 3 subordinate clauses in these sentences. 3 subordinate clauses in these sentences. In this sentence, this is a complete sentence, and there are 1, 2, and 3 subordinate clauses are there, and this is the main clause of the sentences. They have been put within brackets. Means the sentence and the clause which is put into the bracket, it is the subordinate clauses. They are the subordinate clauses. Okay. The main clause as well as each of the subordinate clauses has a finite verb. Every clause, I mean the main clause also and the subordinate clauses also have a finite verb. Set, we walked, had been pitched, then there is almost overflowing. Okay, they are the finite verbs in every clause. Every clause has a finite verb. In this it has set. In this main clause it is walked. In the second clause there is second subordinate clause there is pitched, and in the third subordinate clause overflowing. They are the main finite verbs. Understood? So this is the formation of a complex sentence. So we have discussed about the types of sentence on the basis of grammatical structure. So I hope you have all have understood about the simple, compound and complex sentences, and if you still have any confusion or doubt, then contact me. The class is over right now. Thank you.